So welcome guys to the Selenium webinar. We will start now. So today's agenda is we will cover up what exactly test automation is. There are many tools for automation in market. We'll just see small comparison. This is a kind of theoretical part. Then we will move on to the actual business of Selenium. What are the flavors in Selenium and how they work. Then we will be setting up the Selenium environment for the Java. Uh, then we will be creating one script, demo script you can say, and how to locate the elements. And we will see a small framework kind of program. So same script we will add in a framework. So let's go one by one. These are the courses conducted by Tech Canvas. We are specialized in automation testing and business analyst training. So whoever wants to join for Selenium, they can join Selenium Professional and Advanced course. Mobile testing is also there. APM training you can join, and nowadays everything is moving to Agile. So we have a course for that as well. That is automation testing in Agile project. So you can opt for any of these courses. For Selenium specifically, you first go for Selenium Professional and Advanced. Then if you want to move to mobile testing, then you can go to APM. Same Selenium will be used in APM. Only the simulators and emulators has to configure. Okay. So let's make this session bit interactive. Can you can anyone tell me what exactly you understand by this term, test automation? Hello? Anybody can tell me what do you understand? What is your understanding of test automation? Okay, I got one reply that automate manual test. Yeah, that's bit correct. So anything which we earlier doing was manual stuff, right? Like entering something in a text box. Let's suppose I want to enter username in a Gmail login page. Then what I used to do is I used to type it username manually and enter the password, then enter the submit button. Think of a scenario where I want to test uh, for 100 login credentials in a software project. So it's very boring. Okay, there is one more answer to do testing accurately by automation. One more is there. It is related with a white box testing. You, it's not white box testing exactly. Okay, mainly automation is used for as one person is saying that to test accurately. But even in manually you can test accurately. But what happens is if you do it same thing 100 times, then you tend to do mistakes. So that's why we test huge data using automation scripts. Okay, plus it's a faster way of testing. So if you write 1,000 test cases, test scripts in an automation test framework, you can just run those overnight and you will get the results in the morning. Just think of a scenario how much time you will require to run these 1,000 test cases if you are doing it manually, and plus the resources and efforts. So that's why test automation is in uh, quite a boom right now. And so this is what this slide says. How to achieve the test automation? First we have to set the test preconditions. Let's suppose I want to go to the Gmail login page, so I have to first do the precondition, open the browser, then enter the URL, that kind of stuff. First I have to write that preconditions. There are proxy setting, many more things. So like that, those conditions I have to set the precondition first. Then write the test cases and control them. Like if I want to run only 5 tests today, 10, 15, 20, like that, you can control the test cases using your frameworks. Then plus you can compare the actual outcomes as we do in manual testing to the exact output what exactly expected from this feature or this box maybe. So basically it's a process of automating the manual process and adding the huge data to it, you can say. So there are many tools in market. You can see in a slide we have a QTP, Test Complete, Selenium, Test Studio, Silk Test, and there are many more coded. You might have heard some of these names. But if you see the Selenium, it's a free of cost to you. So that is the biggest advantage Selenium has. It's a free of cost. Second advantage is it supports multiple browsers. You can see all are Y here. Then it supports multiple languages. So that's the main advantage of Selenium WebDriver. Remaining QTP, they have their own pros and cons. We will not get into much detail of them. They are just costly for uh, you can say the normal customers. Banking customers may afford QTP, Test Complete and its cost, but not all can afford this much. Even they are also moving towards Selenium. So we will start with the Selenium. Just we will go to this small history of Selenium, how this name came up. If you know, Selenium is a one of the element in a orbit chart of chemistry, if you can reconnect it. So what was earlier scenario, this QTP was designed by Mercury Interactive. So Selenium is an antidote for Mercury. So the founder of Selenium, Jason, what he thought, like we want to remove this QTP from the market. So we want to remove the Mercury Interactive from the market. For that, we will bring the Selenium, antidote of QTP. So that's why the name is Selenium. Selenium supports only web application testing, only browser-based testing. Windows application cannot be tested using Selenium. Okay, it's specific for browser automation. And right now, most of the softwares, you can say 90-95% are software designed on a web pages or using the mobile apps. So Selenium covers all those stuff. Only it does not support your desktop applications. Now there are multiple flavors of Selenium. First is Selenium ID, which we will see what exactly it is. Then earlier there was version of Selenium 1, which is also called as Selenium RC. So this is now depreciated. The full form of Selenium RC is Selenium Remote Control. What used to happen is we have to configure one server for running our test cases. So now that is depreciated. Now the current Selenium version is Selenium 2.0 and it is called as WebDriver, which is the core of Selenium, and we will be using WebDriver for writing our test scripts. And Selenium Grid is a configuration, you can say, instead of flavor. You have to configure your test cases written in a WebDriver in a way so that you can execute your test cases on a multiple platform like Windows, Linux, Mac, Unix, and multiple browser on them. Like for Windows, you can test on many browsers which Selenium supports. Firefox is there, Chrome is there, Internet Explorer is there. So you write a script in a WebDriver once, and those can be run on a multiple platform on using the Selenium Grid configuration. So next we will see the practical example how Selenium ID is. Selenium ID first is specific to Firefox and it comes as a plugin to Firefox. Let's see how to install it. Just go to Google and see Selenium IDE and enter. So you will get option as Selenium IDE add-ons for Firefox. If you go and install it, just click on add to Firefox. You will get this icon here on right side of your browser window. If I click on this, I will get this window. Okay, what exactly this is, you can record your script using this window or this tool. Recording is nothing but, let's suppose I want to go to Flipkart. Okay, so simple, I have to I will close this, I will restart the recording. So currently it's now in recording mode. I will stop it recording. Now I will, whatever actions I will perform here, those will be captured by the ID. For example, I have opened the Flipkart. Now let's suppose I'm searching in mobile here. This is the one of the feature this search box gives. You can search whatever you want to, and let's suppose I'm clicking on anything, any item here. So I land up on this page. So this is the behavior, and you can see it has captured same stuff here. Now if I stop this record button and play this test case, it will do the same. I've just a minute. Sorry guys, I had a call. Okay, so if I run this test case, it will do perform the same task which I did. See, it is entering mobile here, searching it. Now it will click on Lenovo. So this is how you record the scripts in ID. You can save this script as a test case, as a test suite, and you can record multiple test cases like this. And if you open that, you will get this kind of test script. These commands are called as Selenium command. And guys, this is not something Selenium is. Most of the people make mistake that this is what Selenium is, but this is just one flavor of Selenium, and it is hardly used in industry. Main used flavor of Selenium is WebDriver. So this is just the basics of ID. We will be covering it in bit detail in a course. So moving back to the presentation, there are limitations of Selenium ID. Like you cannot add the loop, or you cannot provide the data. Main purpose of automation is not served by your Selenium ID. So what the Selenium people did is they came up with a solution of Selenium WebDriver. So what WebDriver does is, WebDriver gives you the power of programming languages like Java, .NET, Python, Perl, Ruby. You can write in any language, and those can be run on any platform and any browser using WebDriver. As you can see here, if you write the scripts here for any browser or with any language, same script will run on all the browsers. Okay, so how it does it? This is the architecture of WebDriver. So you write your script here, test script using WebDriver with any language, and you import one jar, which is also called as Selenium API. That API will convert your test script into the browser's native language. And now what exactly browser's native language is? Chrome driver is written in a JavaScript, Firefox is written in a JavaScript, and your Internet Explorer is written in a VB script. From backend, it will only understand VB script, JavaScript, and Java. Sorry? Hello? Can you please put your mute? I think, yeah, thank you. So browser will understand JavaScript, Chrome will understand JavaScript, Mozilla will understand JavaScript, and your Internet Explorer will understand VB script. So that conversion is done by your Selenium API, which is a jar file which has multiple classes, which we will get in detail during the course. Okay. Guys, can you be on mute, please? Hello, please be on mute. Thank you. So whatever scripts are written here, those will be converted to browser's native language, and scripts will be converted by our API, and it will be given to the browser, and browser will send requests to the end web server, which will give you the response. This is how WebDriver works. This is theory. You just need to understand it, how exactly. Okay. The next is Selenium Grid. As I told you, we just have to write script once here, then we have to configure Selenium Grid, and it will take care of multiple platform and multiple browsers as shown in this figure. See here, I have configured Windows as a OS. There is a Linux, and third one is a Mac, and different browsers, you can say, in IE, Mozilla, and Safari. So your single script will run on different platform using Selenium Grid. So let's see how we create our first test script and what are the environment setup we have to do for that. So first we should have Eclipse. Since the course will be using Java, so we will require Java SDK, or you can say JDK. This is Java development kit or software development kit. Then we will require Selenium WebDriver jar, and whatever browsers you want to test on your execute your test script, you have to install those browsers. So we will go one by one. Closing this, let's suppose from where you will get the Eclipse, just type Eclipse in Google, you will get your Eclipse version. Current version is Neon. I have Mars just previous to that. You have to download the folder. Your folder will look something like this, Eclipse, and this is the executable file which you have to run to open this Eclipse. Okay, just a minute. So from here you can download your Eclipse Neon. As per your OS, you have to download, if your OS is 64, download 64-bit or else 32-bit. So it will give you a folder structure something like this, and if you open the Eclipse, you will get this window. First you will get a startup window, close that, you will get this window. So here is the code where this window is where we write our code, Java code or any language code. Then this is your project explorer. You will get all your projects, Java file, .class file here in this. Then this is your console where you will get the output. If you are printing something, you will get here. So we will see one example. Before that, we have to understand the setup. So next is Java JDK, from where you can download Java from Oracle's site. Again, it's same as if you have your OS as a 64, download 64-bit, else 32-bit. Just go here, accept the stuff. x86 is 32-bit and x64 is a 64-bit. Download it, just install it. You will get folder something like this, program files, Java, JDK. This will be the final outcome of your installation. You have to copy this path from taskbar and configure your environment variable. This is important step because without that your Java will not work on your machine. Go to advanced system settings here, then environment variable. In environment variable you have to give path, edit it, and at the end I already have many system variables, So I will show you where I have copied it. So here it is. So this is the JDK path till bin I have copied already. So if you don't have, you have to copy it. If you are setting up Java first time, you will surely not have. You have to install it, copy it, say OK, cancel. Make sure you don't edit any other entries, because your OS or that application might crash. So make sure you just do the uh, copy pasting here like this, and do not change it anywhere else. So how to check whether my system has Java or not? Go to command prompt, simple, Java hyphen version. If you don't have Java, you will get not recognize internal or external command. But since I have done the configuration, I will get the exact version of Java, that 1.7. Okay, so I'm done with my Eclipse. I'm done with my Java SDK. Now the next is Selenium Jara I require. So Selenium has their own website, Selenium HQ. Here you just have to go to downloads. Selenium is open source, so you can directly download. The latest version is 2.53. You have to just download this file and save it. Since I already have this, I'm not saving it. You have to just save this file, and this is what your API which we were talking about, and it contains all your jars or all your classes interfaces which we will be using while writing the scripts. So save it to some sensible folder where you can locate it, like I have done here, jars, and all my jars are here along with Selenium jar. Okay, so now let's create our project, Selenium WebDriver. First you have to create Java project, give name as suppose Selenium webinar 10 July. This is my project name. Say finish. So this is my new project which I have created. It is not having anything. It will just have the Jerry library which my system has. This is nothing but Java file, Java which we installed. Now go to build path, configure build path, and add your Selenium jar here. So which we downloaded, Selenium server standalone 2.53.0, and say OK. Now you are ready to write your script. In Java you have classes, so I have to create class. First class I will give name as first test script. So in Java there is convention used industry wide. You write your class name in a capital. So you will always start with a capital. Okay, then there is one method in Java which you will always require, is public static void main. Your compiler starts running your code from this method. Just check this and finish. So you will get structure of your Java code. I hope most of the people joining the webinar might be from the manual testing background. So their queries will be how much Java we will require. So guys, you require very basics of Java for writing Selenium script. You don't have to go in depth of Java. Basic programs, addition, multiplication, if you practice, you are good to go for Selenium WebDriver. Even I can show you what concepts you will be using throughout your Java course. So these are the concepts which you will require. Very basic concepts: environment setup, basic syntax, data types, basic operators, how to write a class. So we already done that. How to create objects. This is something, and this object oriented programming is good to have if you can understand this. But to start with, we will require this much. Okay, along with that, during advanced Selenium, we will require a list, set, and iterator. So this is what we will require from Java. So don't worry about Java. Once you start writing the scripts and learn basic Java, you are good to go with this. So to write the first test script, let's move on to the next slide first. So let's suppose I have a scenario here. We are done with the setup. Okay, so moving on, I have a scenario here. What I have to do is open the Firefox browser, then enter the URL. I've taken one example here, toolsql.com, which has one practice form for automation. It has multiple text boxes, radio buttons, and check boxes. That's why I took it. So scenario is to open the Firefox automatically. Everything will be done using the script. We will not be interacting with the browser anytime. So simple. I will show you this page first, what exactly it is. This is the page. If you see the URL, this is the page. It has few tabs, few text boxes. First name, last name, then this is your male, female, radio button, year of experience. Then there are a few check boxes as well. Okay, now how to recognize these boxes and how to enter data inside them. Let's see, first we will write our code to satisfy these two steps. First is to open the Firefox browser. Now how you open the browser, you just have to write this WebDriver is equal to new Firefox driver. It's throwing you some error. Right click on, just go there. It will say change to WebDriver. I must have made some spelling mistake, that's why. And it will import the WebDriver interface from the jar which we have added to this project. Here again, it will import something similar to that. It is importing your Firefox driver class here for opening the browser, and this is close bracket. So this is something called as object in Java. So we are creating object using this line of Firefox driver. So what is object? Object is nothing but which has some properties and behavior. So here our object is Firefox Mozilla browser. So if you run this code right now here, it will just open you the browser. I'm running it. See, it is opening the browser for me. That's it. So my first step is clear. I have opened the Firefox browser. Now each object, or you can say this interface, will give you some methods. Like you saw, Firefox browser was open but it was in minimized state. So this just gives me many methods. Manage dot window dot maximize. It is just to maximize your browser window. So now these two lines will work for us, and what they will do, it will open the Firefox browser and it will maximize it. What is my next step? I have to open the website. Just type driver.get. Get is a method. So in Selenium you will be doing this much. So this much Java is required for you. How to call method, how to pass parameters to the method. So here what parameters it is asking me? String. So what will be my string? This URL. And string, how you pass the string? In double quotes. Very simple. In any programming language it is something similar to this. Now this will open me the URL. So it has maximized this time, and it is also opening my URL. It has entered automatically and it's opening URL. right? So next is, how can I go on these boxes? So in manual case, we have a mouse, and we as a person, we can locate this element right on any web page. But for a script to locate this element, we should give some mechanism or address of this box to the script, and for that we have a locators in Selenium WebDriver. So what are the locators? We will cover one or two locators, remaining will be covered in a course. So let's suppose these are the locators in a Selenium WebDriver: ID, class name, name, link text, XPath, and CSS selector. So we will be covering ID and name, and maybe some one or two more right now. And how to use these locators? Just you have to use again driver dot, there is one method, find element. This is used for locating the element, this method, and you have to write by, and by which locator you want to identify, you have to specify here. Let's suppose I will identify my first locator using your first name. And now since you are identifying web element here, right, web element ele1 is equal to something like this. And now you have to pass here the name of this, what name developer has given it. How you do it? Just right click on it, inspect element. See, developer has given this box name as fire first name. So just copy it and put it here in double quotes. So you have reached that element, web element. You have captured where that element is. Now just perform operation on that. ele1 dot, what I want to do, I want to send something to this. Okay, there is a request from Ashish to repeat the located stuff, so I'm repeating it. Just a minute, Ashish. Tapan, you can use any Eclipse flavor, Eclipse version like Mars you can use, or Neon, or any earlier you can use. It's not an issue. Okay, now coming back to Ashish repetition of this locator, I'm removing it. Okay, so my task is to locate this element, right? This web element is a part of this web page. So how I will do it? I will go to that element, right click on that, and I will inspect element. 1 minute, I will close this window as well. This is my plain web page. Right click here, inspect element. This is the developer's console, and developer has given this web element name as first name. Okay, so I know name of my web element. So how you write the web element here is web element. Here I have to make it small. Web element is again interface in Selenium. Let's suppose we will give some sensible name this time. First name, or let's suppose ele1 name is equal to driver dot find element. Find element is the method to locate your web elements. Okay, and how you locate that element? For that you just have to write by dot. Now we have a name for that, so I will use that name to locate that element. So in double quotes, just write this way, click on that. Now I have already located that element. I just now have to do the processing. What process I need to do? Go to my steps. I have to enter something called as Selenium on first name. So I will say send keys is the method to pass some data to that element. That's it. This is how you write something to your web element. Okay, let's run this. Let's see what happens. It has opened the website, and now let's see whether it is able to type Selenium. Yeah, it has written Selenium on first name. So this is done by the script. Now but you can reduce the line of code. Generally, you don't want to increase code lines when you do the programming or write the script. You can cut short it. So how we do it? We will enter last name as well here. So this page has one more element as last name. So right click on that, inspect element, and this is your last name's name they have given as last names. So I will copy it here. I will just copy this much part now, or rather I will type for you find element by dot name. I will give it in a double quotes. Instead of writing two lines, you can directly send from here as well. You don't have to write web element ELE1 if you are not using this again and again. So I will just say class. What we have to do as per steps, test. So I will pass test. Simple. So I have reduced my line of code by 1. Let's imagine you have around 1000 web elements on a single Flipkart page, home page. You will find around 300 to 400 or 1000 elements. So ultimately you are reducing your line of code by 1000 if you are reducing one line here. If you run this, you will get test here, Selenium here, test here. Now similarly, web element, there are different types of web element. This is text box, this is radio button, this is again one more text box, this is checkbox. So let's try to click on, let's say female. I will inspect the element. See here, I don't have name. I have name, but if you see, this male is also having name as this sex, and female is also having same name. So instead of using name, you have to take care that you are using unique, something unique, like ID is unique here. Here ID is 6-0, here it's 6-1. So I will be taking ID from here, and I will be using another locator, which is driver dot find element by dot ID. I will be just saying like this. And now on radio button, what you do is you just click it. So give click. Now this will click on male. So if you want to click on female, then just change it to 1. Okay. Similarly for checkbox, if I want to click on automation, inspect element. See, this has ID as a unique again. So profession 1, profession 2, you can see. But guys, we will not be using name and IDs, because most of the time name and IDs are repeated by a developer. Means let's see a scenario. If this name is something like this name, and with this same name there are let's suppose 10 elements, so compiler will fail to identify your this web element. So for that we generally use XPath. First let's see, we will see these two, ID and name. So I will run it. I should get expected output.
Hello. Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Can I record this?
This video link will be shared with you.
after this session?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And my net speed is a bit slow, I guess, today, so it's taking time. We will rerun it again. I will stop it and we will rerun it. Sometime it gets stuck.
Is it any line of statement for loading the page to sync?
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
So it's taking long time for loading.
Yeah, it's taking long time.
Yeah, you can any programming statement to sync it up to loading this.
Yeah, there are ways for syncing. Those will be covered during the class. Like we have to add implicit and explicit wait for those. So as per internet speed, we have to adjust that.
Okay. So far we are not inserting those kind of.
Yeah, let's see. Just a minute. Just a minute. I will take your question. Let's see whether we are able to do. Okay, anyways, it's taking time, so we will not waste our time there. It will enter Selenium in first name, test in a last name, and it will click on female with this code. Yeah, what was your question? Can you repeat it?
Yeah, actually, it's the site is taking time to load, right?
Right, right.
The tool is going to sync up with the site, so that we have to insert some one line of the program
Yeah, right.
that is sync. So the
Not
tool,
sync exactly.
yeah,
There is different line.
yeah, that is different line. Can we insert somewhere in between these lines?
See, there are different types of wait. You have to analyze your speed, analyze your application, how much it requires time to get loaded. So for that, we have something called as manage dot timeout dot implicit wait, and give wait as per your application. So time unit dot in seconds, in hours, you can give in milliseconds as well. So I will give it in seconds. So what this line will do is it will sync all your these lines. Like if this is taking too much of time, okay, so it will wait for 5 seconds for, maximum, and it will throw you an error, uh, like boss, it is taking too much time. uh, as per expectation, it should load in 5 seconds or maximum in 5 seconds. If it loads in 2 seconds, this it will not wait for 5 seconds, it will go to the next line. And this implicit wait is applicable for all your lines. For each line it will wait for 5 seconds if that line is taking time to execute 5 seconds. There is difference. If this line executes in 1 second, it will not hold for next 4 seconds, it will move to next line. Okay, so this is how you achieve the synchronization in Selenium. If you want to insert specific for specific line, then there is something different, explicit wait, that we will see during course. Okay, so these 3 lines, generally you write these 4 lines always in your Selenium code daily.
In first
Uh,
level.
yeah, starting. So our work is done here. Now let's see, I can click on link as well. There is one more step in our. So this is link. What it does is, if I click on this, it will go to the next page. So this is coming to this next page. How to click on this link? Simple, same, but here you can use another I can say locator for links. Link will be always in a tag in HTML named with the A, you can see here. Okay, and whatever is displayed to you is written here. Okay, link text you can see here. Now how to locate this? Same, find element by link text. So whatever link text we were able to see there, I'm just copying it here and just click on that. Right, exactly what we are doing manually, I'm doing it by the script. I'm locating this link text where that link is and then clicking on that. Okay, so let's try to run it again. If this time we are lucky, it might take the speed properly. Can you be please on mute? I'm getting some background noise. Thank you. Oh, no, it's not loading properly. Site might be having some issue. Anyways, if you are unable to locate the method, see what happened is it took some more time. So one minute. Okay, there is a question from Tapan about the next locator I am discussing, that is XPath. Now this is something is provided by Selenium, but developers write this name which is duplicate to many elements, and plus the issue with is, see, with name it will search from this corner till this corner. If it gets 1,000 elements inside that, it will take time. It will go here and it will find the name. If it finds multiple name with the same text, then it will throw you an error that I'm not able to find the element. Okay, so to minimize this time to search on complete web page, there is something called as XPath. I will explain you XPath syntax in this session. So what is XPath? You give a tag name here in double slash, write square brackets, @ find something unique, like we found the ID as a unique for our element, and double quote, let's see what we saw, this, right? So this is nothing but tag name, this is nothing but your attribute, and this is the value of attribute. So in any HTML language, if you see, let's suppose I am taking this as an example this time. So this is your input as a tag, exp is your attribute, so ID is your attribute, and exp1 is the value of attribute. So how I will write XPath for this? I will say double slash input @ my unique is ID, so I will take ID here, attribute as ID, and value of, not in double quotes, in single quotes here. In single quotes I have to write exp1 -1. So this is your XPath, and XPath is the fastest way by which you can locate the element. That's why we use XPath. Okay, so by name it will go from this corner till the last corner and it will find, but with this it directly goes to the number of input tags. So out of, let's suppose in one web page you have 100 elements, and all 100 has different tags. Out of that, if input tag are 5, and in that it will specifically find out the ID. So the time is reduced here. So this is how you write the XPath of any element, and how to use it. I will write it in a code. Driver dot find element same by dot XPath, and just put it in a double quotes whatever we have found out, and click. Simple way to write a XPath, and you don't have to find it every time. For that, Firefox has one tool, Firebug. How you install it? Simple, like ID, you have to install Firebug. Just write Firebug in Google. It will give you installation add-on for Firefox. You just have to install it along with Firepath. This, if you install these two, you will get icon like this. Okay, now I will use this icon. Okay, with this icon, what you can do is, you can, instead of using console developers window, you can use this, and this pie button, you can go on element, it will give you the XPath. 99% it will give you correct XPath. Maybe sometime it will give you a bit longer XPath. You can edit it like how we saw. Okay, so let's see. For this, I'm getting the same XPath. Here it has given star. I can write input to make it more efficient XPath. Okay, so I have written it here. I will copy this XPath from here. So it will help you to find out elements. Instead of star, I will write input, more specific XPath. So this tool will help you to get the XPath.
What about this IE and Chrome?
Yeah. We will see that. We will see how to do that. First, understand this, then we will go to that. Let's see if we can run it one last time. It has opened. This time it has opened. See, it has done my work, and it has clicked on the page as well. It will give me error because this line is not on that page. I should have written it. Here, here input. So that's why it has given me error, because it has came to another page where that automation or XPath of this is not available, or that web element is not present on this web page. Now I will run it. It will click on experience radio button. Okay, there is a question from Seema. She's getting, what issue she's facing is, when I clicked on Firepath, I got in drop down absolute XPath. So there are two type of XPath. Good, you brought this up. One is absolute and one is relative. Absolute is something like, let's suppose you have your home address, right? Flat number D513, then city is let's suppose Mumbai, state is Maharashtra and India. Similarly, in HTML, your world will start from HTML, then to the body, then to the different tags. So if you go here and click on this and generate absolute XPath, and now if you spy somewhere, na, 1 minute. So now it is giving you from, let's suppose this is your earth, this is your country, state, and then this is your flat name, last input. So it is giving me the complete address. So we don't want this, right? You can use this one as well, but it's better to write short and understand. So if someone is getting this kind of error, uncheck this generate absolute path and click on show entire DOM, and now you go and search, you will get the proper one. And if you are getting still if you are getting some problematic, then try to write your own XPath. That is the case where your Firepath might fail. It will not fail 99%, it will give you the correct, but sometime it fails. See, I'm locating many elements, it's not giving me bad XPath or some issue. Hope that answered your question, Seema. Yeah, just a minute. Okay, there is question, what is DOM? So DOM is a HTML terminology, document object model. So each page is one document. Inside that you have different tags. This is HTML, you don't have to worry about this. Okay, so I'm just checking on this. We don't have to worry about what exactly DOM and all. It is a document object. The complete page is one document in terms of HTML. That's it. Okay, so moving on, my script is ready. It's taking time to load. Yeah, it has got loaded and it has clicked on 2, and now it has clicked on next link. So this is how you will write your first test script, and we have completed our scenario, right? So locators we saw. Then as a tester, you want to represent your testing or test result in some proper format way. You will not be sharing this kind of code to the customer wants exact reports. I want that whether my 10 features passed, my 10 test cases pass, whichever failed, why those failed. So for that you have to use framework. Not only for this one single purpose you are using framework, you use framework for multiple purpose like code reusability, maintainability, then representation. Okay, so there are many frameworks. Mainly the two frameworks are TestNG and JUnit. It has annotations at the rate before test, at the rate after test. So you write your different test cases here, you give it to the TestNG framework. With TestNG framework you can achieve the parameterization, the repetitive data which we were talking earlier. The TestNG will allow you to pass that data using Excel files or even with the database as well. And what TestNG will give you is a HTML report which will be presentable to the customer. We will write it in a short. So when we write this, we don't require main method. Okay, so I will remove the main method, and plus I have to add TestNG library to my project. The installation of TestNG we will cover in a course. So just here, now these are my preconditions. Opening the browser is my precondition. So simply I will write it inside a method at the rate before method. These, what are these annotations, you might not understand right now. We will see them during the course. This is how you declare the method in Java. Now I am enclosing this much part because this will be reused. Okay, so this annotation I will tell you in short. Before method. Okay, So this annotation will run before each and every method. Okay, and test cases you will write under test. Again, you have to write some structure for test cases as well. So let's suppose this is your test one. Okay, close it. WebDriver you have to declare at a class level when writing the framework. Driver you can pass it as null. Okay, now just import testng annotations. Now you are ready with your basic framework. This is very basic framework for this test script. If I run this, you will get proper report. So this detailed framework will be covered during the course. This is just a small example. While this code runs, someone asked me how can I run this in a Internet Explorer. So this has run. So I will get test as a pass, and if you refresh here, you will get some folder like test output, and inside that you have index.html. If you open it with any browser, you will get the reports which is presentable to customer, that this test case has passed and it has taken this much time, which method has passed, which test cases has passed, this was test one, which we have given the name. So this is how you report to the customer using testng. Okay, now to run this code using Internet Explorer, I just have to write one more line, which is fixed line. I will explain you this line, what exactly it is. Okay, so as we earlier discussed, WebDriver was earlier designed for only Firefox driver, but for remaining browsers, they have brought some third-party drivers to run this. Simple, I have to write here Internet Explorer driver. That's it, and import driver, just like we have imported for Firefox earlier. Now I have imported for Internet Explorer, and I have to set the system path of this third-party driver. From where you will get it? Again, from Selenium's HQ. We have closed it. If you go on this site, just down we get all third-party drivers and bindings for most of the browsers. Chrome driver, then Internet Explorer you will get here. This is where you will get, as per your OS, download it. You will get some file like this. You will get this file, iDriver server. Can you be on mute, Raviraj? Yeah, thanks. So this is how this same test case now is ready to run on Internet Explorer. If I run this, it will run on Internet Explorer. It's has given me some error. Maybe that path is not properly set. So you have to set this path properly. Let's see how we can set it. So it was pointing to some different location. Now it's proper. Just run this. Your test cases will run in IE. Similarly, you have to write for Chrome as well. See, it's running on different browser as well. Hope that answers your question.
It is common to all browsers, right? We have to set for.
Yeah. For all browsers, you have to do similar way. Same line you have to write, and you have to download that driver, third-party driver for those browsers.
And I have to change the name of this driver.
Yeah, and here you have to change the constructor names here. Instead of Firefox, you will write Internet Explorer. If Chrome is there, you will write Chrome driver, Safari driver, likewise.
Okay, first line is common. That will
This
be
line is common. Just you have to here also you have to write Chrome instead of IE. In that case, you have to write Chrome.
okay. It is a common
But
for everyone.
yeah, what does this does is it will set the Chrome drivers to this path. So when system tries to open the Internet Explorer or Chrome driver, it will open from this path. If you go and normally click on this path now, you will see it's trying to open the Internet browser. So this is third party they have designed for this. So that's how your Selenium will work for all the browser. That's the beauty of Selenium. It works with all the browser and many platforms. So guys, this is it from my side. This is just a demo session. We have many concepts of WebDriver still to go about, which are not coverable in one class. It will require quite a long session. So remaining concepts can be covered in a course. Okay, if you have any questions, please you can ask me. Okay, I got something from. I would like to know the steps to set up Selenium from system settings, which you showed initially. Oh, Tapan, there is nothing like system settings. You have to configure your JDK in systems. I will show you. Install your JDK. Go to computer, C drive, programs. You will find your Java folder there. JDK. You have to this path till bin. You have to copy. Okay. Right click on computer properties, advanced system settings, and you have to configure your environment variable. Go to path here, edit, and just give semicolon to whatever you have here. Don't alter or change anything here. Just paste your JDK here. That's it. Your Java is ready to work. And to check whether you have Java working or not, just give Java version. So you're done. And in Eclipse, yeah, that answered your question. Good. Eclipse, you just have to import that Selenium jar, which I think simple. Build path, configure build path, and add external jar. Just add it. Okay, so it will be like this. Anything else, guys? Yeah, Seema, that will be covered during the course, like how to set up the complete enterprise level TestNG framework. That is not something you will start writing it right away. It will require some time. See, I just have written one test case here, test one. You keep on writing your test cases here. Again, this is your one test case, second, third. You have to give names to these test cases. All these will become your test suite. Like 10 test cases you write, you will get your test suite. And how to configure them, though that stuff we will see during the course.
Hello.
Yeah.
Actually, I missed the first part, actually, the introduction part. So I just want to know what would be the duration of the training and all stuff.
Mayanka, can you help Raviraj, to know the complete duration of the course? What will be?
Yeah, Avinash,
training, or we can close it?
And one more question I want to ask Rahul, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Actually, it is like suppose I went for some interview for Selenium,
Yeah.
and one interviewer asked me that the thing, like we know that by exception handling, we would be handling the errors, something. So he
Yeah.
asked me that the thing which cannot be handled by the system, how you will handle by using Selenium code. He asked me this question, like which you cannot write on by coding or something, how you would be handling it, some question he asked me like that.
I think the question is not clear. Like something which is not handled by system. How you will?
Suppose the internet like the internet connection is not available now, and suddenly the application crash because of some internet is not available.
Okay.
So how you would be handling it, like what exception you would, because it is not our code fault or our application
Right,
fault,
right, right, right.
it is some external problem is there, and so how you would be handling it.
So it's a runtime failure, right?
Yeah,
Because
runtime, exactly, runtime value.
you were running your code,
Mhm.
it has passed your compilation, and it
Mhm.
hasn't given you any compilation error. So
Yeah.
it's a runtime error. So you will
Mhm.
throw the exception to
Mhm.
the method it is calling, and finally it will throw the exception to the JVM, Java Virtual Machine, which is the system. Okay, and it will handle it, and it will throw you the error that my internet connection, whatever exception they have given for that, like
Mhm.
for 1 divided by 0, there is fixed exception, arithmetic exception, right? So similar, if that similar kind of condition you get in this case, internet failure, and exception is network timeout. So you will get that kind of exception here.
So we have to write such steps in our code as well.
It will prompt you to throw the exception if any like if you are fetching some data from Excel. I will give you a simple example, right?
Okay.
If you are fetching some data from Excel, you have configured the path in TestNG that you
Mm-hmm.
will get the data from this Excel, and this is the location. Now
Mm-hmm.
what happens after some time, that Excel file goes off, like
Okay.
someone deletes it. Now this is the exception case. Your
Mm-hmm.
code is correct, everything is correct, but this is runtime exception. Now what will happen during runtime? It will fail, and it
Okay.
will throw you the exception. So that throwing of exception you have to catch using throws. There is one way of throwing the catching the exception: try and catch block. You have
Mm-hmm.
to write a try and catch block, or you can throw it to system, and system will pass the message that boss, this there is network connection down, or I'm not able to find the Excel path.
Okay. So the system would be handling it. We don't have to write any code for
See,
it, correct?
ideally you should not throw it to the system. You should handle it using try and catch block. Okay, so that is some you can say advanced concept of Java. Not exactly advanced, it's a intermediate kind of concept, throwing and catching the exceptions. So you can
So
handle those.
so every time whenever we are writing the code, we have to make sure we are like catching such exceptions, correct?
If
Every time.
your code is generating any exception, then
Okay.
okay.
Got it. Thank you.
Anyone else having questions, or else we can close it on?
When to start this course? Ravi?
Hello,
When to start this course?
your voice is not clear. Can you be louder, please?
When to start this course? Now?
Yeah, as she said, she will be sending you the details when the course will start and everything.
Okay, it will be included Java also, or only for Selenium tool?
Yeah, that's what she will be sending you the details, whether it will cover Java as well, and everything else. You were Ashish? Basic is what you require for Selenium. If you go above basic in Java, that will be advantageous for you, especially while writing the complicated testing automation test framework. Like using TestNG, you will be writing some complicated automation framework. But see, that's a long time to go. You no one will give you to write a framework right away, because your experience is almost right now zero, and you will be showing somewhere around 1 or 2 experience after this course. So a framework is written by someone who is in this automation field for from last 4 or 5 years. Not everyone will be writing the framework. Okay, so for writing the framework, you require just slightly more Java than what covered here, but that you will understand when you do the practice. But in long run, you will require a few more concepts of Java.
Like I want to add on this, like we need something like exception handling and some loops, because I have attended few interviews.
Yeah, loops is the basic, very basic, right?
Mhm. Because and moreover, what I failed in some interviews was they would be asking some kind of questions like, can you please write a program for like some prime number Java program, something logical check.
Exactly.
It would also have, they would ask.
Yeah, yeah. That you can practice. Like writing a prime number program is not as something you cannot do. It's very simple. That basic practice you have to do. Yeah, I think we can close on. If anyone has with .NET as well, you can do. Yeah, Himanshu, you can run your test cases with .NET and Java as well. But you have to choose one language. You will not be wasting time in .NET as well, and again in Java as well. One choice you have to make. So thanks, guys. I think there is no more question. We can close it here. Shivangi, it's okay? Is it okay?
Yeah, Rahul.
Yeah. So